You know the phrase, the time is now? Like now is the time to do something? Well, I don't think that's what that means. The time is now. All we ever have is the eternal now. The whole concept of time and the calendar and all those things give us the illusion that the future and the past are tangible, but they're not. All we have is the eternal now. The time is now. Have a great day. I wish I had my old account because I had a really great video on this that I won't ever be able to reproduce. But let's try. Conscience is a faculty of knowing what is right, a moral sense. It comes from the Latin conscientia, which means joint knowledge of something, a knowing of a thing together with another person. Consciousness. So, whom do you share your conscience with? Spirit. It goes back to spirit. And the word conscious also comes from the exact same root. And so we've got con, which means with, and sire, which means to know. Now, sire comes from the Proto-Indo-European ski, which means to split or cut. And so I think about those of us that have a conscience, an individual spirit, have been split or cut from the whole spirit in order to experience creation, for creation to get to know itself as individual fractals and in any and all experiences. Hope this helps. Have a great day. Man is defined as a featherless plantigrade biped mammal of the genus Homo. It's from the Old English man, meaning human being, person, servant, vassal, adult male considered as under the control of another person. It is from the Proto-Indo-European root man, meaning man. A vassal is a tenant or manservant who pledges his loyalty to a lord. A servant is a personal or domestic attendant who tends to or waits upon others, aka his masters. The creator of the Homo sapien was creating a race of slaves to imprison in a garden, if we refer to the biblical text. It was the serpent who let mankind know of his abilities and potential as a creator being. The God of the Bible wanted to keep us dumb, basically. Have a great day. When someone sneezes, we say, bless you. The word bless can be broken into be less you. So what exactly would someone be losing when they're sneezing? Some of their humors. The word humor today is associated with fun and comedy, but humor is defined as fluid or juice of an animal or plant. It's from the Old North French humor, meaning liquid or dampness, and from the Latin humor, meaning body fluid. In old medicine, humors were any of the 4 body fluids: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. The relative proportions of the bodily humors were thought to determine physical condition and state of mind. This gave humor an extended sense of mood and temporary state of mind. Now, the definition of amusing quality and funniness was first recorded in the 1600s. Makes me think differently about the phrase sense of humor. Have a great day. Pine cones were considered symbols of fertility by the Romans, Greeks, Assyrians, and Christians. The design of a pine cone forms a perfect Fibonacci sequence. Pine cones have also been associated with the third eye, enlightenment, and the pineal gland. Now, I personally have not always resonated with pine cones representing the pineal gland, but after looking at the words, it makes a little bit more sense. Now, pineal means literally like a pine cone. It's from the Latin pinea, meaning pine cone, from pinus, meaning pine tree. Now, pine as a noun is defined as a coniferous tree, tree of the genus Pinus. Innocent enough. Pine as a verb, however, means cause to starve. It's from the Old English pinen, to torture, torment, afflict, cause to suffer. From pine, pain, torture, or punishment. All possibly ultimately from the Latin poena, which means punishment or penalty. What comes to mind is that we are starved for spiritual knowledge when our pineal gland is tampered with, which is a form of torment, torture, and punishment. The pineal gland is calcified by fluoride, and then we are more susceptible to mind control programming, things like that. To be cut off from source or your intuition and completely absorbed by this illusory matrix prison would be a special kind of torment or punishment. And I tell you, I've almost had that happen. One thing about drug addiction, and one reason I think that drug addiction is an overlay placed on the DNA, is because it makes you fixate on the physical. You completely lose all connection with the spiritual. But anyways, several ancient drawings where beings are carrying pine cones are shown to be wearing strange watches and purse-like objects. Now, I think these purse-like objects are actually water buckets, but could the watches on their wrists maybe be where the name Watchers came from? Just an idea. Have a great day. Archon and anchor are anagrams of each other, and I hadn't noticed that. It's interesting. The word archon is one of the 9 chief magistrates of ancient Athens. It's from the Greek archon, meaning ruler, commander, chief, or captain, which is a noun use of present participle archine, meaning be the first to begin to rule, lead the way, govern, rule over. And it is a word of uncertain origin. Now, anchor is a device for securing ships to the ground under the water by means of cables. And I thought about us, our junk DNA, and the fact that a vessel is a synonym for a body and ship. So anchor is a device for securing bodies to the ground under the water by means of DNA, is also how you could read that. From the Greek ankyra, an anchor or a hook is from the Proto-Indo-European root ang or ank, which means to bend. Angel and angle also come from this word ang or ank. And I think of archangels, the archon angels, the leaders of the angels. I think the question is are all angels archons? Now, archons are these nasty, low vibrational thought forms that essentially come from the chief archon or the demiurge, the malevolent creator that is imprisoning us and harvesting our life force energy. All realms are inside of the archon, and no one has ever escaped the archon. And we are hoping that this life is the time. If you'd like more information on the archon, follow Sonia Testerman on YouTube. Her channel's called The Tree of Knowledge. Have a great day. Socotra Island is an isolated island where technology such as television isn't readily available. The Socotra Archipelago is a group of 4 islands, Socotra, Samha, Darsha, and Abd al-Kuri. Of these 4 islands, Socotra is the largest and is inhabited by around 50,000 people. Hadibo is the largest city on the island, and a quarter of the residents live in this city. Only around 450 people live on Abd al-Kuri, 100 on Samsa, and Darsa is uninhabited. The archipelago is officially part of Yemen. Socotra's name is traced to the Sanskrit Vipa Sakhadara, island abode of bliss. Socotra's flora includes several famous species, among them frankincense, myrrh, and the dragon's blood tree. The Socotra dragonblood tree is an umbrella or mushroom shape, and it produces a red sap. This sap was believed to be used as dye, toothpaste, medicine, and paint. Inhabitants of the Socotra Islands have had little influence from the modern world, and the Socotra people have a deep respect and understanding of their land and sea. They speak a unique classical Semitic pre-literate language, Socotri, that is very different from modern Arabic. The Socotra Islands have global significance because of their evolutionary uniqueness, biological diversity, and socio-cultural heritage. Socotra also possesses a number of sizable cave systems that stretch over much of the island, and these have only recently begun to be explored. Locals have made use of smaller caves for centuries, but some of the most extensive systems have only been discovered in the last few years, and their importance has yet to be fully ascertained. Have a great day. In the middle of the Sri Lankan jungle, you may suddenly come across Sigiriya, a fortress built into a mountain. We are told Sigiriya was built by the 5th century king Kashyapa I, who ruled the native Sinhalese dynasty, the Maurya. The imposing fortress was the capital of this kingdom until 495 AD. Sigiriya is on the steep slopes and summit of a granite peak standing some 180 meters high. A series of galleries and staircases emerging from the mouth of a gigantic lion constructed of bricks and plaster provide access to the site. I bet there was once a lion's head attached to those paws, and I also suspect that this was once a grand fortress and not a mountain at all. The fortress was swallowed by the forest and only familiar to local villagers until British historians rediscovered its astonishing buildings and frescoes in the 19th century. As with most megalithic structures, Sigiriya does not appear to me as if it could have been constructed by post-flood man. Mankind has greatly devolved from what it once was, and after studying ancient sites, it appears to me that grand megalithic structures such as this are pre-flood architecture. I would wager that Sigiriya was once some type of grand architectural structure that's been covered in cataclysmic reset. Possibly more than once. Have you ever thought about the fact that our spirit is always awake? Like when we go to sleep at night, the physical body is what's resting. Eternal spirit doesn't need rest. So we leave the body when we sleep and go travel interdimensionally in other realms. And then when we come back, we say good morning because we're mourning coming back to our prison cell bodies. Just a thought. Have a great day.